Hey class, this is Mr. Lee, and this is the homework helper video for Chapter 1, or Chapter 7, Activity Sheet 1. So for today's homework, I want you guys to draw out these problems. So the way that you read out this problem is 2 times negative 3 equals negative 6. This is for number 1A. Now, here's what we did in class. We had this problem, and now we have to explain it out. So the way that I'm going to explain this out is this. 2 times negative 3 equals negative 6. So the way that I can explain it is this way. So right here, my explanation is I'm adding two groups of negative 3. The reason that I'm saying it's adding is because the sign for the first number, the 2, he's positive, and positive means to add. So I'm adding two groups of negative 3. Next, I'm going to do the computation. So for my computation, here's what I have to do. I have two groups. So let's do group 1. This is group 1, and we have group 2. So we have two groups. Inside each group, what do I have? Well, in group 1, I have 3 negatives. So 1, 2, and 3. In group 2, I also have 3 negatives. So it's 1, 2, and 3. All together, when I add group 1 and group 2, how many negatives do I have? I have 6 negatives. So 2 times negative 3 equals negative 6. Right now, we're going to do a problem that's just like problem A. Let's do problem letter D. So right now, I want you guys to write this down. My explanation is this. So here's my explanation. I have 3 times negative 4. 3 times negative 4. Well, my explanation is I have 3 groups of negative 4. Now, before I go on to the computation, what's 3 times 4? 3 times 4 gets me 12. Are their signs matching or not matching? Well, if you said not matching, you're right. And if it's not matching, what do we have? We have a negative. So 3 times negative 4 equals negative 12. All right, so right now, we know 3 times negative 4 gets us negative 12. Now, our explanation is this. Our first number is 3, a positive 3, so that means I'm going to add 3 groups. My first number always tells me my group. And my second number, the negative 4, tells me how much is inside the group. So now, let's show our 3 groups. So I'm going to write down G1 for group 1, G2 for group 2, and G3 for group 3. Alright, so here are my 3 groups, group 1, group 2, and group 3. Inside each group, what do I have? Inside each group, what do I have? Well, each group is going to get 4 negatives. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then group 3 has 1, 2, 3, 4. So altogether, I have how many negative numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Altogether, I have negative 12. All right, that was problem D. So let's go on right now to problem number B. And I have negative 2 times 3. So here's what we're going to write down for our explanation. We're subtracting 2 groups of 3. So because this is a negative 2, I'm going to know I'm subtract. And how many groups do I have? I have 2 groups. So what I'm going to write is this. I have group 1, and I also have group 2. So I have 2 groups, and inside each group, what do I have? Well, inside each group, I have 3 positives. So let's write this down. I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 positives in group 1. And how many positives do I need in group 2? 1, 2, 3. Now, here's the thing that we're going to get stuck on. It says the answer is -6. Now, how am I going to get a negative? And did I subtract anything? Well, I haven't subtracted. So here's what I need to do. I need to make a 0 pair. So here's a 0 pair, and here's a 0 pair. The reason I can do these 0 pairs is I can technically subtract these 2 groups now. Now look, I'm going to subtract 2 groups. So look, if I subtract these positives and I subtract these positives, what's left over? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got -6. So that's my computation for part B. Pause the video so you can get this down. Now, for part B is a lot like part E. So I want you guys to write down the explanation right now. When we read -3 times 5, what does that actually mean when we explain it? We know 3 times 5 is 15, but because the signs are mixed, what's the answer going to be? Well, it's going to be -15. So pause the video right now and try to write down an explanation. Alright, so we're subtracting 3 groups of 5. So here's my computation. I got my 3 groups, but I need to have 5 in them, and we're subtracting. So the way that this is going to work is this. So in group 1, I'm going to have 5 0 pairs. So I have plus and negative, plus and negative, positive and negative, positive and negative. And I'm going to draw this for each group. Alright, for the magic of editing, here we are. These are a bunch of 0 pairs. So we have to subtract what? 3 groups of 5. So that means I have to circle all my positives. What happens when I remove my positives? So circle them up. Because I have a small thing right here, I can't quite erase them like you guys can. Alright, so after I remove all the positives, after we remove 3 groups of 5 positives, we're left with 15 negatives. So after we subtracted, we have 15 left. Now let's go on to problem F. Problem letter F. The way that we read this is -3 times -5. So it's 3 times 5. Well, that's going to get me 15. Because the signs match, is it positive or negative? If you said positive, you got it right. Now, for our explanation, we're subtracting 3 groups of -5. We're subtracting 3 groups of -5. Problem letter F is a lot like problem letter B for our computation. So we need to draw 3 groups. So let's draw our 3 groups for problem F. Now, how much goes into each of the 3 groups? How many pairs do I need to draw? Well, I have 5 pairs. So right now, I'm going to draw 5 0 pairs. Alright, so look at this. In my first group, I have 5 0 pairs. In my second group, I also have 5 0 pairs. In my third group, I have 5 0 pairs. Now, do I want to remove a negative or a positive? Well, I'm going to remove all the negatives. So if I remove all the negatives, what do I have left? If I remove 5 negatives from each group, I have 5 positives. Altogether, how many positives do I have? I've got 15 positives. Now, here's the last problem that you have to do on your own. Write me 2 sentences. I want 2 sentences telling me the difference between problem E and F. So for part 2, what is the difference between my pictures of problem E and F? Alright guys, I hope this homework helper helped you guys out. I'll see you tomorrow in class.